Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you want to know what it is? It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Sneaky bastard.
You're listening to Hardcore Harry, and I am Death to the New World Order, streaming to you live at freethinkradio.com, unitedtruthseekers.com, and eternally at d2nwo.com. Yes, turns out I actually wanted to talk about this before we got into it, and we're going to be talking today about satanic ritual sacrifice. Today is Sunday. I'm supposed to be wearing the white shirt today, but oh well. And I go to church today as I do every day. So I'm going to talk a little bit off the cuff here about, common knowledge, whether you're a Christian or not. Christ died on the cross for your sins. And this was a blood sacrifice. Abraham was asked early on to sacrifice his son Isaac as a blood sacrifice. And there's all kinds of blood sacrifices throughout the Old Testament. Christ, of course, being the ultimate blood sacrifice in the New Testament. What so few Christians, and especially Christian pastors, know, though, is that blood sacrifices are still occurring. And this is something my pastor doesn't know, doesn't understand. I've gone as far as to tell him that 9/11 was done by our own government, by the New World Order. That's all the farther I've gone with him. When I told him that, he looked like I had hit him. I mean, he literally teared up as soon as I said it. He didn't cry, but I mean, his eyes got watery, like I had hit him. But unlike, your regular sheeple walking down the street, he listened. He was not afraid of the truth. So I found that to be quite interesting. He said he would look into it. Of course, it was very, very shocking to him. And I guess what I would say about it is that he reacted the way somebody who still has feelings, somebody who still has emotions would react. And I think that we have underestimated how numb we've become in the last decade, how dull everyone's senses are. Because when you tell somebody the truth about what happened on that day, that's exactly how they should react. It shouldn't be, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about, you're just a conspiracy theorist. It should be shock. It should be anger. It should be outrage. It should be sadness. And we're not getting that. But staying on topic, we're talking today about ritual sacrifice. And I'm leaving the word satanic in here, but this is pretty complicated, folks, because when Christ died on the cross, this is considered to be a blood sacrifice, and it's also considered to be God's will. Now, I don't know how much time I'll have to talk here, but this is going to get a bit complicated if I have time to get it out. In that, if you read Revelations, when it talks about a third of the earth, a third of the people dying of famine, and a third dying of pestilence. Well, we know who's doing this. We know about the New World Order. We know They manufacture diseases in a laboratory. We understand these things are going to happen, and we know who's going to do it. But Revelations also says that this is God's will. This is the will of God. Which brings up some very interesting questions. If these people are doing the will of God, are they actually evil? Are they actually evil people? And, you know, obviously the instinctive answer to that is yes, of course they are. Should you actually try to stop them if they're doing the will of God? The instinctive answer again, yes, of course you should. But ask a pastor that, and you'll get different answers. And I actually talked to my pastor today. And of course, I brought it up in the past tense. For instance, when Judas betrayed Jesus, wasn't that God's plan? And the pastor says yes. I say, well, if that was God's plan, how is that evil? He's carrying out God's plan. He says, oh no, it's evil. So it's God's plan and it's evil. Isn't this to say that God's plan is evil, or are we looking at something that may not be so much a God versus Satan thing, but simply a God's plan thing? And Satan is... And another question I asked him, well, does Satan have free will? Is Satan dictating who he's going to possess and what he's going to make him do? Or is this all God's plan? You know, was Judas condemned to hell from the day he was born? If it was God's plan that he betrayed Jesus, if Judas would have never been born, somebody else would have had to been born to betray Jesus and go to hell. I mean, this seems like it's the case, right? Now, obviously, the pastor doesn't know anything about the New World Order, does not understand that blood sacrifices are still occurring. And so the question remains, 9/11 was a ritual blood sacrifice. But who were they sacrificed to? Wasn't it God's plan? If it's God's plan, who were they sacrificed to? Who was Christ sacrificed to? And I know some of these questions are going to be a little bit, I mean, it's all new. I'm always going in directions other people, you know, don't expect. But if this is God's plan, if a third of the earth is to be depopulated by famine and a third of the earth is to be depopulated by pestilence, as laid out in Revelations that says it's God's will, then who are these people dying for? Who did the 3,000 people who died on 9/11 die for? What the fuck is going on here? These are questions I'll be dealing with in the future, and hopefully I'll have more solid answers. I didn't have enough time to talk to my pastor, not that I'm saying he's the, you know, the be-all, end-all or whatever, but, you know, he can maybe give me some clues. He knows nothing of what's going on in the world today. He knows nothing of the New World Order or the sacrifices like 9/11 that are still going on to this day. When they committed the sacrifice on 9/11, who did they get power from? Who granted them power? Did Satan say, okay, thank you, you killed 3,000 people and committed this satanic ritual sacrifice, and so I bestow upon you power to control the minds of men? Or was it God? Was it God who said, thank you for killing these 3,000 people, setting up circumstances under which you can create a police state so that you can further implement my will? Do we really have a solid answer for this question? If we do, what is it? And by the way, I have a phone number at the station now, so I will take phone calls. You can call at 333-5140. During the breaks, you will see the phone number. I'm going to turn the Skype volume back up, and I will take calls. I'm going to be on for the next 3 hours. So let me get my Skype volume up. I will take calls, and as an added cool little thing here, my brother-in-law is currently on his way to Ireland. I don't know if he's boarded his plane yet. He may call in, and we'll find out if a phone call works from an airplane during this broadcast. You're listening to Hardcore Harry, and I am Death to the New World Order, streaming to you live at freethinkradio.com, unitedtruthseekers.com, and eternally at d2nwo.com.
"1993, World Trade Center bombing, remember? During the trial, one of the bombers claimed the CIA had advanced knowledge. The diplomat who issued the terrorist visa was CIA. It's not unthinkable they paved the way for the bombing, purely to justify a budget increase.
You're telling me that you're gonna fake some terrorist thing just to scare some money out of Congress?
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Hennessy, I have no idea how to fake killing 4,000 people. So we're just gonna have to do it for real. Oh, blame it on Muslims, naturally.
Symbols are a language that can help us understand our past.
The physical evidence is so strong for the destruction of the World Trade Center by explosives that we're really in the level of proof now, not conjecture. So on that score, I've just written a book on World Trade Center 7. It's called The Mysterious Collapse of World Trade Center 7, Why the Official Story, the final official account of 9/11 is unscientific and false. And I, in that book, give a massive amount of evidence that's been compiled by scientists, architects, and engineers that all three buildings were brought down by explosives. There's simply no other possibility. And the only way that NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which wrote the official report, the only way they were able to deny that was to commit massive scientific fraud, which in simple words simply means they lied, and they lied. We certainly know that some were still alive after 9/11. Walid al-Shiri, for example, showed up in Morocco and gave a press conference. The BBC reported on it, and yet when the 9/11 Commission wrote its account, they said that Walid and Wael al-Shiri were the ones probably on Flight 11 who stabbed the flight attendant. So they just ignored the fact that these two guys were still alive.
So I had a friend, Nick Rockefeller, okay, who was one of the Rockefeller family, and he, when I was running for governor of Nevada, he came to me, introduced himself to me to an attorney, and we became friends. We started talking about things, and I learned an awful lot from Mr. Rockefeller. Very, very smart man, and we used to talk and share ideas and thoughts, and he's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be, but there was going to be an event, and out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, you know, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And sure enough, later 9/11 happened, and I remember he was telling me how how you're gonna see soldiers looking in caves for people in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these places, and there's going to be this war on terror, of which there's no real enemy, and the whole thing is a giant hoax, you know, but it's a way for the government to take over the American people.
He told you it was going to be a hoax.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's no question. He says, there's going to be war on terror, and he's just laughing. There's no... Who are we fighting? I mean, why do you think 9/11 happened, and then nothing's happened since then? Do you think that our security is so great here that these people who pulled off 9/11 were able to can't lock down another plane? Come on, it's ridiculous. 9/11 was done by people in our own government and our own banking system to perpetuate the fear of the American people into subordinating themselves to anything the government wants them to do. Look, this whole war on terror is a fraud. It's a farce. It's very difficult to say it out loud because people are intimidated against saying it. Because if you say it, they want to make you into a nutcase. But the truth has to come out. That's why I'm doing this interview.
What we have here is an extreme example of something that governments, imperialistic governments, have done for a very long time. They're called false flag operations. You attack your own people, you blame another country or another group that you already had reasons to want to attack.
False flag operations are covert operations conducted by governments, corporations, or by other organizations which are designed to appear as if they were carried out by other entities. The name is derived from the military concept of flying false colors, that is, flying the flag of a country other than your own. One of the best-known cases of a false flag op was carried out by the newly elected Adolf Hitler on February 27, 1933. Nazi documents uncovered at the end of World War II, as well as testimony during the Nuremberg trials, reveal what many historians already suspected, that Hermann Goering had set fire to the Reichstag, the German parliament building. Using the crisis he had created to pass laws similar to the USA Patriot Act, Hitler became dictator and set his sights on the world. By March of 1939, Hitler had already seized Czechoslovakia.
1962. Lyman Lemnitzer, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, presents a proposal to Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara, named Operation Northwoods. The document proposed staging terrorist attacks in and around Guantanamo Bay to provide a pretext for military intervention in Cuba.
And you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to wonder exactly what President George W. Bush knew about the attack, and when he knew it. According to the official White House version, it was at this moment in a Florida classroom that Bush learned the second plane had hit the World Trade Center and that the U.S. was under attack. But here's what George Bush himself said almost 3 months later when asked about September 11th.
I was sitting outside the classroom waiting to go in, and I saw an airplane hit the tower of a TV. You know, the TV was obviously on, and I used to fly myself, and I said, well, there's one terrible pilot. And I said it must have been a horrible accident. But I was whisked off there. I didn't have much time to think about it.
Now wait a minute. George Bush was told about the second plane while he was inside the classroom. So you just heard him describe seeing the first plane crash on television that day. But that's impossible. No one saw the first plane crash on TV on September the 11th because the videotape of it didn't surface until the next day. So how could George Bush have seen what he said he saw?
When they do their terrorist events to blame on someone else, they are very ritualistic in nature in terms of when they're done, where they're done, and how they're done. When I started researching this, my buddy jaw was dropping, not just at the ritualistic and symbolic nature of what they did, but the scale and detail of it.
But if you stop at 9 and you skip to 11, skipping God, then you are Luciferian. Because 11 is the number of the magician. It's the one step above. Once you have accomplished the tree of life, you are now the magician. You are one above 10. But they're doing it by skipping God. That's the symbolism of 9/11.
Those twin towers are symbolic architectural edifices, which I think you compared them to the twin pillars of Freemasonry, Jachin and Boaz. So you've got everything there. You've got like, would you say that it was like a mass ritual, a mass sacrifice?
Yes, that's what wars are, the mass sacrifices.
Now look at the face in the smoke on the left-hand side. That is proof.
Ahriman is one of the facets of Lucifer.
This one made the newspaper. Right there it is. This was a satanic ritual sacrifice.
What word? Steal. Yes, steal. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Steal. Yes, steal. Get ready. Play. Yes, play. Get ready. Dove and go. Yes, dove, head, go. Fingers onto the first word of the story. Get ready to read the story the fast way. Get ready. The girl had a pet goat. Go on. She likes to go running with her pet goat. Go on. She played with her tail.
Why did he have the book upside down? You think he's that stupid? No. The classroom exercise was part of the satanic ritual. There's your pet goat, Baphomet. Now I remember the coverage when they made that Eye of Horus, and we'll talk about that soon. Now you're looking at cards from Peter Jackson's Illuminati game. Destruction of the World Trade Center, destruction of the Pentagon, rewriting history, New World Order tactics. There's no such thing as a coincidence when things are this detailed. There's no way. And there's plenty more. When Princess All right. Now that my audio is working. I did an interview with Craig Fitzgerald, a 32nd degree Freemason, and he talked a lot about magic and how you could control magic. And it seems to me that is what the New World Order really does, in the sense that they understand the supernatural far, far greater than the rest of the people, and they basically try to use it to their advantage. I've had another person contact me saying that they were using quote-unquote angel magic. Angel magic. And I don't know everything about these things yet. What we do know for sure is that there's a supernatural force at work here. We know that 100% for sure. They didn't plan those faces in the smoke, did they? That's not possible. Did they plan to have the mind control perfected? Or do they have that down to a science? Did they know the trauma would be so great that they would gain full control over people's minds? That could be. My opinion is that they have supernatural help in controlling the minds of men. That's what I believe. I know we're dealing with fluoride medications and go on down the list, but I don't think that quite can account for how so many people can just immediately reject the truth. Immediately, almost before you open your mouth to tell them the truth, they reject it. I think there's a supernatural force that has granted them power over the minds of man. And in fact, if you look in the Bible, and you can Google this right now, it talks about how the minds of men will be clouded. Clouded is the word used in the Bible, and that is what we see as we're trying to wake people up. Their minds are literally clouded. They can't see the truth. Now, how did that just happen? And again, I started off the broadcast saying that these things are the will of God. So did God cloud the minds of men? Or is it a power granted to the New World Order by Satan after the ritual sacrifice in 9/11? These are some pretty deep questions, and so I can't right here, right now, give you the answers. But I'm giving you the questions. It's like, I'm not catching your fish for you, but I'm giving you a fishing pole. I'm giving you some bait, and I'm sending you out. I'm only one person. But if we want to come to understand our enemy so that we have a chance, we have to understand who they're working with, who they're working for, who's working for them, what powers, what abilities they have, and how we can defend from them. It seems pretty clear to me they've either been granted power over the minds of men, or they have gained power over the minds of men, and it looks supernatural to me. Now, one might make the argument, oh, it's sorcery, medications, and certainly a lot of it is, but I just don't think that explains it all. There's plenty of people who don't drink fluoride, who aren't on any medications, and go on down the list, who still run from the truth. This cannot be explained. Anyway, back to ritual sacrifice. We have a phone call. Let's go ahead and take it. And I'm going to turn the video. Hey, how you doing, John? Let me put you on screen.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to full screen, zoom out, and we are talking to John. And are you currently on an airplane?
That's correct, I am.
Okay, now, is there any chance that you can ask somebody what your altitude is?
No, we're not actually off the ground yet. This is why I called you, because...
Okay, Okay.
Well,
You realize the point of this test was to find out if you could make a call from 30,000 feet.
Well, let me call you back when we are up there. I'll tell you what. As soon as they taxi out to the runway, they might even shut off the signal. That's why I called you now. So.
They can't shut off your... Well, they can jam your phone, but here's the thing, okay? They say, oh, you got to shut your phone off because it'll interfere with the plane. If they jam your phone, they're creating more interference than your phone normally would. So I don't think, I don't think that'll be an issue. So just wait till you get up there and ask him your altitude at some point. And if you get 30,000, give us a call, okay? Or even 25.
Okay.
Okay, John, thanks, and we'll look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, what time is the show over?
I'll be on till 8, at least.
Okay, talk to you then.
All right, bye. All right, folks, and that was my brother-in-law who is making a trip, and he's getting on an airplane, and I don't know, maybe he didn't quite understand the point of the experiment, but he's going to give us a call if he can get up to 25, 30,000 feet, and we will see if we can hear what he has to say and whether or not, in fact, cell phones can make calls at that altitude. Now, granted, this is 10 years down the road from 9/11. The technology's probably changed a good bit since 9/11. So if it works, we'll look into changes in technology. If it does not work, after 10 years of advancement in technology, it's pretty safe to say it would not have worked on 9/11 on that day. So, yeah, we'll see if he calls back in. If he doesn't, then we know that it does not work. Moving along with the broadcast, I'm going to get back to the ritual sacrifice aspect of this because I don't have a ton of time. Two things you need to know. One, we're going to be looking at that part of the ritual that occurred in the classroom at the end of the broadcast. We're going to finish with a song called Controlled Demolition, which talks about blood sacrifice, that 9/11 was a blood sacrifice. And after Controlled Demolition by Fear Factory, we're going to look at what was said in the classroom to finish out the broadcast. And before that, and probably coming up in just a couple seconds here, and I remember this on the 1-year anniversary of 9/11, they did a ritual at Ground Zero. They did a ritual, and I believe the Freemasons were involved in this. And they basically marched people out to form, you know, kind of like this circle around this other circular thing that I don't even know what it is. And I remember I was on the computer at the time. This was 2002. I didn't have a clue on the face of the earth about the New World Order. This was 2002. Everybody's still deep in the fog of the trauma from 9/11. The media is playing it up, and this is what I remember. I remember looking at my TV off to the side and saying, are these people retarded? Are they so stupid that they can't form a circle? And when you see this video, you're going to understand why they didn't make a circle, because they weren't there to make a circle. This was a New World Order ritual. They were making the Eye of Horus. They were forming the Eye of Horus with human beings at Ground Zero on the 1-year anniversary of 9/11 and broadcasting it live worldwide on television. And nobody saw it for what it was that I know of at the time. Hindsight, of course, is 2020. Now the New World Order has been pretty well exposed. We understand some of their symbology and their rituals. So that is a great example of, what do they call it, hidden in plain sight. It's not even hidden. It's only hidden by the fact that we couldn't see it for what it was at the time. But now that you look at it, it is very, very obvious they were deliberately forming the Eye of Horus and broadcasting it around the world. It's unbelievable. So previous civilizations used to sacrifice thousands of people every day just to appease the spirits. This is documented. Human sacrifice was practiced by many ancient cultures. People would be ritually killed in a manner that was supposed to please or appease a god or spirit. While not widely known, human sacrifice for religious reasons still exists today in a number of nations. Some occasions for human sacrifice are found in multiple cultures on multiple continents, including human sacrifice to accompany the dedication of a new temple or bridge. Sacrifice of people upon the death of a king, high priest, or great leader. The sacrifice were supposed to serve or accompany the deceased leader into the next life. Of course, we've heard about this with the Egyptians. Human sacrifice in times of natural disaster, droughts, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, etc., are seen as a sign of anger or displeasure by deities, and sacrifices were supposed to lessen the divine ire. And this, of course, is where they would throw their virgins into the volcano. And this is what I metaphorically say the New World Order is still trying to get you to do. Global warming. The earth is, warming up. We got to kill 7 billion people. Or at least 6.5 billion people. We're going to kill 6 billion people because the earth's getting a little bit warmer. That, ladies and gentlemen, is human sacrifice. You're listening to Hardcore Harry, and I am death to the New World Order, streaming to you live at freethinkradio.com, unitedtruthseekers.com, and eternally at d2nwo.com. Alright, something didn't come out quite right with the video right there, and certainly that d2nwo.com is not supposed to be that loud, so whatever, we'll go on and we'll see when the video cuts in. And again, I will take calls today. The number is 330-333-5140. Again, 330-333-5140. I got a call the first time I ever had my number, which was, Friday. But unfortunately, the call didn't come in until I was off air. And after I get done, broadcasting, I'm not much in the mood to talk, so try to call in while I'm broadcasting and, just while I'm on air. Alright, so human sacrifices to accompany the dedication of a new temple or bridge, the death of a king, high priest, or great leader, and natural disasters, droughts, earthquakes, and so on. Still done today. Human sacrifices were practiced by various pre-Columbian civilizations in Mesoamerica. The Aztec practiced human sacrifice on an unusually large scale. A sacrifice would be made every day to aid the sun in rising. The dedication of the great temple at Tenochtitlan, I'm not even going to try it, was reportedly marked with the sacrificing of thousands, and there were multiple accounts of captured conquistadors being sacrificed during the wars of the Spanish conquests of Mexico. And that may be what was in the film Apocalyptico. I think it was Apocalyptico, directed by Mel Gibson. Thank you. Hello? How you doing, caller? Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from South Florida.
Okay, good to have you on the broadcast. What's on your mind?
Okay, well, my brother was killed in 9/11 supposedly with a passenger on flight number 11, American Airlines.
Okay.
And I've seen a variety, I've been studying the whole thing intensely since the day this happened. And I must say that while the government may have paid off my mother's wife to keep her mouth shut, you know, nobody did anything to shut my mouth, so I've been pretty vocal about this whole thing, enough that money could have shut me up. But my question is, I've seen some videos out there, some stories that have said that there weren't even really commercial airliners that hit those towers.
Right.
What's your feeling about that?
Well, that's what we call disinformation. Because the truth about 9/11 is coming out, the New World Order is doing everything they can to inject a lot of lies in amongst it to basically make people who say the truth sound like crazy people. Like, oh, you're just one of them crazy people that believe that, you know, the towers were destroyed by a beam weapon, or you believe in reptilians and all this kind of stuff. So that is disinformation put out there. And there's a lot of people on Facebook or that claim to be in the movement to talk about that. And I imagine some of them have, you know, smoked too much dope and they believe it. But a lot of them who you think are legitimate activists who are talking about this stuff, they are paid disinformation agents. There's no credibility to that story whatsoever, and it is out there only to discredit us.
Okay, so what is your personal feeling? What is your opinion about what hit the two towers?
Well, it was, I'm not going to say it was the airplanes that took off, because there is reason to believe they may have hit it with different airplanes. I don't know 100% for sure. What I know is that the airplanes were irrelevant. The towers were demolished with controlled explosives and thermite. I mean, there's no doubt about that. They could have landed those planes elsewhere and done whatever with them and hit them with different planes. You know, there's pictures where some people will say, well, this doesn't look like that plane or whatever. I mean, to me, I know who's behind it. I know why they did it. I know what they're getting out of it. So the exact details of which planes they hit it with is almost irrelevant. Now, I was in the military, and I can tell you they have a zero tolerance for you know, a mission going bad. So if you ask me how I would have done it if I was in the military, I would not have hit it with the hijacked airplanes, because something could possibly go wrong. I would have hit it with other airplanes which were guided by, you know, automated systems, so that there was zero chance of anything going wrong. And I think maybe that's what they did, but I can't be sure.
And that control center might have been in building number 7, right?
Right, exactly.
And then my other question would be, you know, what happened to all the debris that was supposed to be at the Pentagon, the full-size jetliner, and also in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, if you look at satellite photography of where that plane hit in Pennsylvania, that crevice in the earth was there before the airplane hit. That is something you can verify right now on the internet, so that is all bogus. And as far as the Pentagon, it's pretty clear that it was hit by a missile. And again, just like I said, mixing truth with lies, mixing disinformation in with information. When you're going to hit one target with an airplane and another target with a missile, you're going to get people arguing, oh, it was airplanes or it was missiles. And that's part of creating the, you know, the arguments that keep us from solving the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I guess, you know, partially for my own edification, you know, I try to figure out what happened to my brother. You know, I'm concerned about this. I mean, as a country, I'm concerned about the fact that our country has gone to crap, and things are getting worse and worse. But I'm also concerned. I'd love to know what really happened to my brother.
Right, I understand. Now, let me ask you, have you taken any flack for speaking out, especially from the government or even from members of your own family? I mean, how has it been?
Well, nobody has bothered me as far as any government agencies are concerned. As far as my own family is concerned, they did fight me. They told me many times, can you just, like, leave it alone and just, it happened, you can't undo it, you know, just forget about it, and not forget about it, but just sort of accept it. And the answer is, I will never accept this.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm very sorry for your loss, and I think that you're very, you know, courageous to speak out, especially in light of others, you know, not wanting you to. You're putting the truth first, and probably for your brother's sake, and that's admirable. So, Yeah, man, just keep it up. I mean, we are bringing the truth forward as well as we can, but they're doing everything they can to stop us. And the government usually admits these things after 30 or 40 years. You know, it'll just come out, oh yeah, the government did it. You know, and by then nobody cares. So, you know, part of our goal here is to decrease that time until they admit it and keep people caring, because when the truth about this comes out, if we still have people who care, they may basically say, look, we're not putting up with this stuff anymore, and stop these kinds of things. But I mean, you got to realize since 9/11, they did 7/7 over there in the UK and other terrorist acts. I mean, a false flag attack it's still going on. So it's a horrible thing. And if we can just raise awareness about this, we might be able to make a difference. But hey, thank you so much for calling in, and feel free to call back any.
Thank you very much.
Oh man, nobody heard that, did they? Okay, well anyway, going on with the broadcast, and we will still take calls. The number is 330-333-5140. I'm going to go back to talking about and I feel bad for doing it now. Well, we just had a gentleman called in who lost his brother on Flight 11 on 9/11. His brother was a human sacrifice. But this is the evil world that we live in. They're literally sacrificing people. You know, Hitler said, and I mentioned this on another one of my broadcasts, Hitler, who received a Luciferian initiation, said point blank, our losses can never be great enough. Why would he say that about losing his own soldiers? Because Hitler's soldiers were being sacrificed to the deity that he worshipped. His own troops were human sacrifices. And so were the people on those airplanes. This is how the New World Order sees people. Lambs to the slaughter. You understand? Most people just get fleeced, but some get slaughtered. We're being sacrificed in wars. We're being sacrificed in government operations. We're being sacrificed through vaccinations, diseases, engineered famines. Go on down the list. These things don't just happen. I'm going to get back to the topic at hand. I don't know what's going on with the video here. It was supposed to play something, but human sacrifices were practiced by various pre-Columbian civilizations of Mesoamerica. The Aztec, and I mentioned the movie Apocalyptico, I believe, showed this one here, the Spanish conquest of Mexico. In Scandinavia, the old Scandinavian religion contained human sacrifice, and both the Norse sagas and German historians relate of this. I'm finding information about human sacrifice a little difficult to come across on the internet because, you know, when you search for that in relation to 9/11, the hard physical evidence, the circumstantial evidence, and all the other evidence about 9/11 is so clear, it's so obvious that it's hard to talk about the ritual side of it, you know? And really only so many people are ready to even go to that level. For 99.9% of the people who even know 9/11 was done by the New World Order, they're not ready to accept that it was a ritual sacrifice. And so most of the information out there is about what happened that day physically, what happened that day financially, where people were, who traded what stocks when, you know, what happened as far as the film, the pictures, and on and on and on. And when you look at the ritual aspect of it, there's not a ton of information there. Maybe that's, you know, something that there will be more of in the future. I mean, I started off the broadcast by mentioning that my pastor knows nothing of this. Absolutely nothing. And I'll be honest with you, I was in the truth movement for quite a time. And it was Keith Siegel who told me 9/11 was a ritual sacrifice. And I didn't discount it, but I didn't believe it at first. It's kind of like something I stored away to think about later. Of course, now it's a couple more years down the line, and I've had time to think about it and to see what's going on here, and I can see that is what's going on. And to me, one of the big questions is, when they perform these ritual sacrifices, what are they getting out of it? What do they get for sacrificing people to their deity? How does this happen? How does this work? And this is where, and I took a lot of flack for doing the Freemason interview with Craig Fitzgerald from All Sides. This is where we actually need those people. We need their information. They have an understanding about these things based on years and years and years of being on the inside that we don't have. And so I have one contact, for instance, trying to explain angel magic to me. I don't know exactly what that is, but it probably plays into all of this. And I'll be looking into that more in the future. Again, and I thought we would have already seen it, the Eye of Horus. Maybe the video did not produce right. I don't know. Or maybe that'll be coming up next. But either way, we will be finishing out the broadcast with Controlled Demolition by Fear Factory. And after that, we will again be looking inside the classroom on the morning of 9/11, where George Bush was holding the book upside down, My Pet Goat. Again, upside down symbols are a satanic indication. And the fact that they're talking about a plane hitting steel, I mean, it's pretty strange. It's what some might say are obvious, and some might say, oh, it's just this massive coincidence. And you have to wonder, were they trying to derive some sort of power from the ritual they did in the classroom? And I mean, just talking about ritual sacrifice, you can look at the shooting with Jared Laufner in Arizona. There was a 9-year-old girl who was shot when that happened, and she just happened to be born the very day of 9/11. Not that day of the year. That actual morning in 2001. She was born that day, and she was killed right there. There is somebody out there known as Well Aware One or Dallas Goldbug who has tied in the Laufner shooting with the New World Order. I don't endorse that. I don't know that for sure, and frankly, I think the guy matches up a lot of people who don't quite match. But he seems to see a connection there. I don't know. They said the woman, Giffords, got shot in the head. Now she's walking around like nothing's wrong. It is a strange world that we live in, and it's no wonder we have to have some people who specialize in trying to keep track of every little thing going on, because if you don't keep track of every little thing going on, truth becomes indistinguishable from lies. There's no other way. You're listening to Hardcore Harry, and I am death to the New World Order, streaming to you live at freethinkradio.com, unitedtruthseekers.com, and eternally at d2nwo.com.
I saw that morning, being down here now, as different as it looks, I still have those visuals, those images in my mind, in my head.
Okay, this is your 1-year anniversary of 9/11.
What happens in Israel on a daily basis. Those are the things we have to be careful of.
1-year anniversary of 9/11. What is this thing in the middle? They made this just for this ritual. They made this big round thing. Or is that like, is that the fountain? Was there a fountain at ground zero? Or did they build it? Right there it is, the Eye of Horus. See? That's the Eye of Horus. I was looking at this. I'm going to back it up a little bit and pause it. Oh my goodness, I backed it up way too far. I was looking at that, and I was like, are these people retarded? Why can't they form a circle? And of course, now I can see why they could not form a circle. They didn't want a circle. Let's see if that's it right there. All right, little technical glitch here. Apparently the video didn't produce the way I wanted it to. So we'll just unmute that, turn that up, and I'll probably just get cut off by the music any moment. But again, this was 2002. I had not quite had my first website shut down yet. That happened in 2005 because of information I put on there in 2004. I had no idea about the New World Order. I simply saw this ritual and I thought they were retarded. Now I know it was the Eye of Horus.
Destroying lives of innocence.
Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Kid. Yes, sound it out. Get ready. Kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. What word? Kid. Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. Steal. What word? Steal. Yes, steal. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Play. Yes, playing. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kit. Yes, kit. Get ready. Steal. Yes.
Now come on. It's pretty obvious. Kite, hit, steal. Talking about an airplane. Kite, hit, steal. Don't be retarded. It's obvious.
Yes, steal. Get ready. Play. Yes, playing. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Boys and girls, pick your reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 153. At the count of 3, everyone on page 153. If the yellow paper is going to bother you, drop it. Thank you. Everybody touch the title of your story. Fingers under the title. Get ready to read the title, The Fast Way. We're waiting for one member. Thank you. Fingers under the title of the story. Get ready. The pet goat. Yes, the pet goat.
Kite, hit, steal, plane, must. All right, folks, we're going to have a minor pause here, and then we will be right back.